The epic and unbeatable at Scrabble. The Nerds with Attitude! Welcome to the N.W.A. Nerds with Attitude. I am Shin the Hero, aka Walt, and I am joined by Godzilla enthusiast, OldHunterRage.
Old
Isaac.
I need to change my name. I'm gonna have to change my name to something Godzilla related.
Like Godzuki? Man, please change your name to
Godzuki. No. old Godzuki Rage.
First off, beautiful dog. I'm gonna pop a picture up there for people.
Oh, thank you.
He's pretty. Man, I was really hoping his name was Godzuki. Boy, or some kind of Godzilla.
Look, if I had the choice, I probably would have named her something Godzilla related, but she already had a name when she showed up, and she's like 6 months old, so she's used to that name at this point. Yeah, she's huge. I know.
Only 6 months, man. She like a full-grown dog.
She's a pit bull and Labrador mix. She's quite cute.
Well, Godzilla, King of the Monsters. You have heard our thoughts on Godzilla 98, Godzilla 2014, Kong Skull Island. Now we're at Godzilla, King of the Monsters. All to ramp up, get hyped for Godzilla vs Kong. I know this movie is very near and dear. It's a really great movie to Isaac. That's what I say. Isaac really loves this movie.
I do.
I, on the other hand, have some problems about it. Like, let's the movie it has some pretty notable actors in there. Yeah, let's get that out the way. But and it clearly, the movie somewhat here's the criticisms from the 2014 movie where it's not enough Godzilla, and I'm gonna just tell y'all straight up one front. I'm not a Godzilla super fan or anything like that. I would probably say I'm more of a casual fan. Like I was introduced to Godzilla in the 70s, and I was interested in Godzilla. I found out about Godzilla through the cartoon, the 70s cartoon. Up from the depths, 30 stories high, breathing fire, his head in the sky, Godzilla. That's how I knew Godzilla. And then I watched the 89 movie, and as a kid, I thought that was the dopest thing ever. I have gotten better taste. At least I feel like I got better taste afterwards, especially revisiting. And 2014, man, and I did watch some of the old school. I seen the original Godzilla movie. I've seen Godzilla vs Mechagodzilla. And I've seen that one movie where it's I don't remember the title, but it's the movie where that little Japanese kid, it's all happening in his head, and he wants to go to the Monster Island, but it's all in his head. I think it's like Godzilla Jr. or something like that. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
Son of Godzilla.
Yeah. I've seen that too.
Yeah. That's unfortunate, but
but I would say a Godzilla movie could be a lot of things. It could spell out powerful metaphors, like in the original one. You get that campy, fun feeling in the sequels, like the Toei era. But I'm not gonna. Having some time to sit on this King of the Monsters, it was boring, dog. I'm not gonna lie.
Really,
it was boring to me. And they did do it justice, where they listened to the biggest thing, where it was too many human characters, not enough Godzilla, and they pump full this movie steroids with a bunch of monsters and a lot of Godzilla, but they still do the human element. Like, you get a monster fight and then it cuts to humans. Mm-hmm. And then you get some monster reveals, then it cuts back to the humans. There were so many cuts and stuff during stuff, like the whole monster element. And like I said, I'm saying this like I said, I'm not like the hardcore Godzilla fan, and I know Godzilla people like, we're going to go see Godzilla because we want to see the monster fight.
Godzilla.
Yeah, you want to see Godzilla. You want to see the monsters fight. But like, more than half of this movie is human elements in here, and they are like robots to me. Like, it's just, the 2014 movie was better than this. They did like, I don't care about the humans, and I know you can't necessarily do a whole movie just full of fights because you need the humans for the exposition, because that's all they were doing. It was just a guy popped up with a PowerPoint presentation saying this and that, and then it cut back to the monsters, and then some dude popped up on the screen like, yeah, we shot this warhead thing, the oxygen bomb thing, yeah, we shot that, good luck. No reason why we shot it or anything like that. We didn't get no okay or anything like that. We shot that, all right, bye. And then they don't touch on that no more. Like it hits Godzilla and that's it. I just like, it just like the humans felt this movie. I know it says Godzilla King of the Monsters, and they did deliver Godzilla and they delivered monsters, but the entire time with the monsters, it felt like it was a background. The 2014 one felt more of a spectacle than this did. Yeah, sure, the monster battles were great. Yeah, they were cool when it did happen. Like when Ghidorah showed up, first time, and he came out the ice, and Godzilla came up. Yeah, I was giving them voices. Godzilla was like, "Oh man, I was looking for you, homie." And then King Ghidorah was like, "What? You? I thought I killed you, nigga." And then they started fighting and everything. And then what had happened? They cut down to the humans in the freaking helicopter thing. I was like, I don't care about them. I'm trying to see this beef. And then it cuts back, and then that man Godzilla just mushing that man, all three of his heads. And what thing that, man, like, it made me like Ghidorah, like his heads are Steve, Phil, and oh man, what was it? Jack? No. It was Steve. It was
some other name. I can't.
Dang it, man! I gotta look at it. I gotta look it up now. It was like Steve, Phil, and Jack. I gotta look at my notes. I got notes on this. But yeah, I mean, you could jump in this at any given time.
Hey, Steve, Phil, and Chuck.
Yes, Chuck.
Yeah. But look. Yes, fair warning to the listeners. This movie is my favorite movie of all time. That's a big statement, and I agree. It has problems. I too don't like some of the human parts, because I'm mostly in the boat of like, they're fighting, and then they cut to the humans. I'm like, what the fuck? Didn't y'all listen to us last time? We don't want to see them. If they get crushed, that's on them. It's fine. If they get out, that's also fine. But show us these two fighting. That would be great. But it's like, there's some points in the human story that I actually like. I think a big part is like the comeuppance that the humans get in this story, where it's like, Dr. Emma was like, we need to unleash all the Titans because that's the only way to save the Earth. And, at a certain point I was like, yeah, okay, I get it. I kind of get where you're coming from. But then I find the humor in it that she didn't do all her research, and she let out the worst possible monster. first. She let out the one that came here to take over the planet, and was an ancient rival to Godzilla. And then they let him out, and then he started taking over stuff, and they're like, "Wait, this isn't right. What? What did we do wrong?" Like, woman, if you had done your research, and you've been doing this research for a long time, and it didn't come up that this thing was not supposed to be here, and that part cracks me up. The fact that they thought they were doing something good, and they let out the worst possible monster first, and then Godzilla shows up. He's like, "Good. Oh my god, dude! I put you in the ice centuries ago, and they let you out." That's why Godzilla was so pissed in this movie, because you saw when they the intimidation scene, because he already knew what they did. He heard the signal of the orca and everything, and he's like, "Tell me, y'all didn't just let him out." And they're like, "We don't know what you're talking about." He's like, "You know what? Just shut up. I'm gonna go check." And he goes and checks. He's like, "You did exactly what I said not to do." And they're like, "We didn't know." He's like, "You did know." Look, yeah, I talked for the monsters in this movie too. I did that a lot. But I think the main reason I like this movie so much is it's like the director. I looked up the director a lot after I saw this, or after I found out who was making the movie. Because he's a huge Godzilla, like way bigger than I am. So he was, he really wanted to get it right, pretty much. So everything with the monsters is almost perfect. Because it's incredible, like the way they make the monsters into, full characters instead of just being these giant creatures that the humans have to look at. There's parts where, like the part after Godzilla comes back from his nap, and he comes out of the water and he starts staring at the people, and you're like, you could tell what's in his head. He's like, "I should just kill these people. They just destroyed my home. The Japanese dude was nice and everything, but now he's gone, so there's nothing even tethering me to these people anymore." And then the one dude just stared at him, and Godzilla was like, "Oh, this dude's got balls. All right, that's cool. I'll let them live. This is cool." And then they get to team up with him. But even then, it's like a fickle alliance, because by the end, they're like, "Thank God he's on our side." And the one lady's like, "Yeah, for now." And it's obvious if you've seen the trailers for Godzilla vs Kong, he's definitely not on our side anymore. And it was small things. Like, I feel like I had an out-of-body experience watching this movie the first night. So I saw it in IMAX, and it was incredible. It starts off exactly like the original movie does, with 3 stomps and a roar. I know that's some fan stuff. That's some deep fan stuff.
There was a lot of fan service in there for those fans. There was a lot of fan service. Now, like, so about the family, like, it's like the movie is so unfortunate for this movie is because I don't even remember a lot of characters' names. I don't even remember any characters' names. And like for me to like Kong Skull Island did a better job selling me, like when you had said they were the monsters was characters, I still don't feel like they were characters. Like when Rodan showed up and was like, I'm here. Oh, I see you, Rodan. I am Rodan. I see you, Ghidorah. I'm about to drop you. And he dropped him. He just smushed him, and he was like, all right, man, you cool. I'm with you. Like my voices for the monsters were made it better, but like they weren't really characters. They was still a backdrop to this movie. It was all about the humans. Like I did find it kind of interesting, even though once I figured out kind of what happened. In the beginning of the movie, what the mother and the Collard Channer, I think that's his name, and then
Farmiga.
Yeah. Them two, about their little their debate they were a little having on the different sizes of this, like what to do with the Titans. Do we kill them? or do we leave him alone? And because of and this all stemmed from them losing their son, which we don't even know if they lost their son. Like, he could still be somewhere, man. We didn't see no body or nothing, man. And my mind has been wired like, you don't see no body, they ain't dead. That's how I feel.
that's the Marvel movie in us.
That's how I feel. And it wasn't even really clear that why the dad was so angry at Godzilla, like, because it wasn't even really saying like Godzilla is the reason why my son dead. That's not. When you just see Godzilla, you hear them screaming out Godzilla their kid's name, and then time skip, and then we see Millie Bobby Johnson, where her name is 11 from freaking Stranger Things. We see her, and then we don't see the son. But I'm just like, oh, did they just give up looking for that man? Did he really die? Did the parents split? Did they get a divorce? Because like in the first 5 minutes of this movie, I hit this man Isaac up. I was like, man, Godzilla is a homewrecker. And he was like, how? And I was like, that man divided a family. They got divorced. He was like, nah, man. And Isaac was like, nah, I think they're just separated. I was like, what? He's still a homewrecker. He done messed up a family. Godzilla messing up stuff. It's just. There was a lot happening in this movie with no real explanation, and they would throw up a monster fights. Like I said, parts of the movie was great. Like, there was parts of it was great, but at the same time, all the monster fights, because they were so dark and it was so rainy all the time, and I get why that was happening. You barely could see the monsters or anything like that, and you barely could see what was going on. And I would argue every monster battle that happened in this movie was not even nowhere near as good as the last fight in the 2014 movie, in the first one. In my opinion, I feel like that movie, that last fight was better than all the fights in this movie, all the battles that was in this movie. Cause why? Cause I could see.
Yeah, that's a fair point. The whole thing, because the whole thing that they had, Ghidorah brings a storm with him everywhere he goes. Is cool in concept, but it feels like very, studio note worthy kind of thing. The studio's like, hey, we should have every fight be in the rain and dark. They're like, how are we gonna fix that? I don't know. Give one of the monsters a storm power or something. And they're like. Okay. And they're like, if you don't do it, we won't fund this movie. Well, god damn it. Then we have to make it rain in every fight, which sucks. And I kind of hate that. That's something that I'm really glad they're fixing in Godzilla vs Kong, because there's a couple of fights in the movie that take place in broad daylight, and I've never been so happy to see that in my life. But yeah, that's another unfortunate thing. It's weird because like once I start to explain the stuff about this movie, I really do look at it. I'm like, yeah, this is not really a lot of people, to like a regular person. You're not really gonna love this movie. You're not gonna feel the way I feel about it. But to me, it was like, I don't even know how to put. It's really like fan service, and I think that's where it hit home for me personally, because there's moments in the 2014 movie. Okay, I'm gonna start like small comparisons, and these are like real small stuff. When Godzilla shows up for the first time in 2014 at the airport, right? That moment is still powerful because that's the first time you actually see him, which is still sort of grating on my nerves because it's his movie and he doesn't show up until like an hour in. Yeah. But when he shows up in King of the Monsters, he comes blasting out of the ice, and his old theme song is playing. The theme song is what sent it over the edge for me, because I hadn't heard that theme song played in a movie in a long time. Like, if I hadn't watched like one of the old movies, they play it like all the time. Anytime, like his claw shows up in a shot, they play the theme song. But in 2014, his song was nowhere to be heard in that movie. And in this one, he shows up and that theme song was blaring. And yeah, I'm an emotional person, so when I saw it in IMAX and his theme song was blaring over the speakers, I burst into tears. Because I was like, I've never heard it done so well. And for him to have such like a powerful presence, even though I had to squint to see him through the snow and everything like that. It's
like that
I
part.
can barely
that
see
part.
him,
there are some hype moments in this movie. Don't get me wrong on that. There were some hype moments in this movie. Like when he just came in and Kamehameha him off screen and just was like, "Yo, what up?" But I mean, the theme song was cool. But you already know how I feel. It should have just been up for it. Man, they could have remixed that, man. They could have remixed that.
Right,
they could have remixed. They could have did the drumming, and they could have mixed that in. Doom, 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 up from the depths. Boom, 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 boom. 30s high. They could have did.
Sang the whole thing in Japanese.
Yeah, they could have did. They could have did it how it's like, how the Gogeta Brawly theme is. He can brawly.
You trying to get me too hyped up?
Go,
that's too much.
Go. Come on, Brawly. Gogeta. Man, they could have did stuff like that. Like I would have been super hyped. I would have forgave it.
It's funny that you mentioned that because, and again, pushing up my nerd glasses. Not 2 days after I saw this movie, I went and bought the soundtrack and looked up everything I possibly could about the soundtrack. In every theme that happens for one of the monsters, their name is actually chanted.
Really?
In their song, which is nice. Like Rodan is in there. Godzilla is definitely in there. Ghidorah is like weird monk chanting in his song. Mothra's song is from like her original movie. The music really did have a lot to do with it. But there was like other parts like there's a specific design choice of having Godzilla, his spikes and everything glowing just when he's angry, and that's something I've never seen before, because his spikes usually only glow when he's getting ready to just shoot the fire and all that kind of stuff. But they had it linked to his emotions, and anytime you see him show up and they're pulsing, you're like, oh, he's pissed off. Like the part where, again, when he's getting ready to come through the ice, the spikes are glowing so brightly that it's starting to melt the ice above him. I was like, oh, man, he's very, very mad. He's so mad. And then it's small touches. Like when he turns into, Kaioken Godzilla at the end of the movie.
When I saw that, I lost my mind right. They gave him the Kaioken? What?
That's actually part of the part of the old lore, because they call it Burning Godzilla, but
I looked it up. I saw that.
It has a way, like, what's the word? It has a way sadder meaning in the other movie that it shows up in, because he dies after he does his thing. It's not like he can control it and shoot out these bursts or whatever like he does in this movie. In the old one, it's like his internal temperature is reaching critical mass, and he's gonna melt down at some point, and he just has to kill the monster before he melts down. And so even though he wins the fight, the movie hasn't ended, and you have to watch him die, and it's one of the saddest parts I've ever seen. And this one is honestly one of the coolest things I've ever seen, because watching this one, I was like, oh, he's not gonna die during this. This is him. He just hit his limit break, and now he's getting ready.
He basically used his super. He basically used one of his super bars. He used 7 super bars, and he just dropped this man. He let off his super. That's what he did.
And it's like small stuff like when he, I don't know if you noticed this, or maybe you looked it up afterwards, but every time he shot off a nuclear pulse, you could see the pattern of Mothra's wings in the bubble.
Yeah.
That's like, that's not even for, you know, a casual viewer. That's for Godzilla fans to be like, it's like, you know, the meme of Leonardo DiCaprio with a cigarette in his mouth pointing at the TV. That's, you know, that's us during that part. And then just watching him, you know, stand, because the part after, you know, he blows up and he caves Ghidorah's chest in with his foot and everything, and you see Ghidorah's head come out of the rubble, and we're like, you're joking. He's still around, and then Godzilla has him in his mouth, and he does like the reverse kiss of death instead. And everybody was watching, and we're like, dang, that's more brutal than I've ever seen Godzilla do. But then they've already, you know, they set up Godzilla being brutal in this universe anyway, because of what he did to the other two Mutos in the first movie. But then, you know, all the other Titans start showing up, and it cracks me up because I can finally start telling you this analogy I made.
That just felt
Rodan.
Like, when the monsters showed up and everything, this felt like Lion King. I just wanted the Circle of Life start playing right then and there.
Yeah, that's definitely what it is. It was like Godzilla was being crowned as the king of the monsters. That's all that scene was. But Rodan is like one of my favorite monsters in this movie because this man acts like Starscream the whole time. This dude, like, Ghidorah was being Megatron the whole time, and Starscream shows up, and, you know, Rodan's like, you know, I'm big and bad. I'm taking out all these jets, and he sees Ghidorah for the first time. He's like, oh yeah, square up, thought. And then Ghidorah pounds him into the water. And like the next time you see Rodan, he's bowing down to him. I was like, see, you a little bitch, Rodan. And then by the end, you know, he, like, Ghidorah's fighting, and Mothra shows up, and Ghidorah's like, Rodan, come here. And then Rodan shows up, yes, master. And he starts fighting. And then, you know, he's still acting big and bad because he thinks he can take Mothra. And then Mothra stabs him in the shoulder, and he's like, my shoulder. And then he disappears for a while. And the next time you see him, he's trying to stand up to Godzilla when Godzilla's being crowned as the king. And Godzilla just looks at him, he's like, you really want to do this again? And Rodan's like, no, not really, master. It's just, Rodan was like, because Rodan's one of my grandma's favorite monster is actually Rodan. We make a lot of jokes about him because she loves him so much. And to see him have as much of a character that kind of played into the jokes we had made about him as I was a kid meant a lot, because it was like, that means other people see him the exact same way we do. So it was nice. And then Mothra, I don't know, Mothra just had me in tears. Like, her coming out of her cocoon.
Mothra showed up to die. That's what Mothra
did. That sucks because I'm not even joking. I had this talk with JR a while back because we were talking about Mothra. Mothra dies in literally every movie she's in. That's just her thing. She dies every time she shows up. And it sucks because she's such a good character and she does all these cool things when she shows up, but then by the end you're like, I can feel it. It's coming. And then she gets blown up by something. I'm like, well. Oh well, what are you gonna do? But I think their whole thing with Mothra is she can continue to like reincarnate, which there's an egg somewhere. They said it in the credits of the movie. Because again, pushing up the nerd glasses. When I bought the movie, I started pausing during the credits so I could read all the newspaper clippings.
Oh, okay. I was gonna do that, but then I was like, man, I don't got time for this because it goes to Kong again, and they make it like Kong is like, first they said Ghidorah is his internal rival. Now they're making it like Kong is his internal rival. That's his rival, because we see the more cave drawings and stuff, and it's with Kong versus Godzilla. So I'm just...
Well, I think... No, go ahead.
I just, like... And it's just... Like I said, there are cool moments. There were hype moments where I popped up out of my seat. Like, for instance, during the end fight where Mothra came in and web shot that man Ghidorah to the building, and Godzilla tackled him through it. That I just heard Ludacris, "Move, bitch, get out the way," and he put him through that building. I mean, there were cool moments in there, but then there's also, like, it's, to me, it just felt like the because they had 5 years to do this. They had 5 years to write this script and everything, and to me, it felt like they forgot about the story and characters. And like I said, I get people. I get the people who really love this movie be like you don't worry about the human characters, you just want the monster movies. I'm sorry, but that's not a great film critique either. That's not much of a film critique either. You still need some kind of plot. You can't have 90 minutes of just pure unadulterated battle with no kind of story or anything like that.
I completely agree with you, because I when this movie came out, there was a huge critique from Godzilla, or like a lot of Godzilla fans and just critics in general. They were like, you know, the last movie, there was not enough Godzilla and too much humans. And this one, people were like, there's too much Godzilla and monsters and not enough humans. Or like the humans were boring and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of Godzilla fans, including me, for like maybe, you know, a couple weeks after the movie came out, I was like, you don't go to see a Godzilla movie for the humans. But then I had to really, you know, step back and look at it and be like, but if you're going to have humans in the movie, they should at least be good. That way you're not dreading every time, you know, the camera cuts away from the monsters to look at them. That way you're not just like, oh, Lord, you know. Because you can't, I would like to say you can't build a good movie on monsters alone, but I believe you could. Like, I think they're talking about making one.
You could do that. There are the old school silent movies back then. You could have a monster movie telling the story just with the monsters, but like a perfect movie for what I would say a perfect movie is what this could have done is Jurassic Park, the first Jurassic Park. You get a great story with great characters, very likable characters and everything, and you have dinosaurs. Most of the people brought their kids and stuff to this movie for the dinosaurs. Most of the people seen this movie for the dinosaurs. But it's such a good...
The characters are great.
Yeah, it's such a good story, and the characters are so likable and everything. And you get a lot of dinosaurs in there. You get a lot of dinosaur scenes in there. It all just meshed together very well. That's what King of Monsters could have did. And that's what it should have did. But like these human characters, like they're worse than the 2014 movie characters, in my opinion. Because these dudes are just straight up robots. They're like, they don't have no feeling. Like, it's not like really, and I know it's a movie. You're not supposed to have any kind of believability or anything like that. But like, they don't have any kind of grief or anything when people are dying. A lot of people die, or other stupid crap happens. Like, for instance, the dad. How the hell he know to open that hatch thing? How he knew how to do that? He was a National Geographic dude listening to animals. That's what he did. That's what he did. That was his job. How he knew all that.
Well, he used to work for Monarch.
I can't fault you on that.
I completely agree with you. The also, I think the character that had the most emotion was
Ken Watanabe's character.
Yes, him.
And he didn't need to die. He did not need to die. They could have easily went back to the sub. They could have easily went back to the sub. They already had the coordinates. They could have easily went back to the sub, shot a nuke, or went back to the sub, called the military and everything. Yo, man, we need this nuke to be shot. But no, they give this. It was just, I was just like, but why? Why though? You're the best character, and why you gotta die? I don't understand. Yeah. And that right there, like, was it a heartfelt scene? I guess. I still don't understand why he was so gun-ho about Godzilla in the first place. I don't know.
Why wouldn't you be? Oh, Walt, this is like asking me why I'm gung-ho about Godzilla.
I mean, I get that, but I just didn't know why he was so connected to Godzilla. I didn't understand why that. Because I didn't really see that in the first movie, unless I glossed over it. And in the second movie, it made it seem like him and Godzilla were tight. They go back, way, way, way back. And there's
this little tiny thing. It's probably not even like actually connected, but there's a little bit of like I don't know if you call it serendipity or there's got to be some word that goes with it. But in the original 1954 movie, the person who created the bomb that ultimately kills Godzilla in that movie is named Dr. Serizawa. In this movie, Dr. Serizawa gives his life to raise Godzilla back to, finish the battle. So it's like I would say they redeemed the character from the original movie, but then the original character didn't really even need to be redeemed because that was a whole different era. The idea of the movie was different, the metaphor was different, all of it. Because in that one, Godzilla was a force of nature. He was completely evil. He was a metaphor for the atomic bomb.
Yeah.
And this one, he was, a force of nature, the corrector of balance, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, there was a huge difference between the two Godzillas, but I thought it was nice that it was, Dr. Serizawa, instead of him being the one to try and kill Godzilla, he's the one that helps him and, sadly has to give his life in order to do it. But and you were talking about the bomb that the military shot.
Yeah.
That's the bomb that Serizawa makes in the original movie to kill Godzilla. Which, look, that's one main criticism there. That's another thing that I don't like about the humans in this movie. That part makes me so mad because Godzilla would have killed Ghidorah.
Yeah, he was dropping him underwater. He was Godzilla, when he brought him into the water, it's like, welcome to my world. And when Godzilla is in water, that man is a king. and that man Ghidorah could not do a damn thing. He was getting dropped. And then you get that message popped up, yo dog, hey man, what up? I shot a bomb. What? Why?
Deuces. Like, what? Like, if they had not shot that missile, Godzilla would have won that fight, and then, Godzilla would have won that fight, and then, Ghidorah probably would have been gone, maybe. But still, that part just annoys me, because it's like, y'all did this. You're the one who let Ghidorah out in the first place, and now you almost killed your only hope of
right, yeah, and then they realized that. They realized that at the end. They was like, well, how do we stop this man? Y'all killed y'all the only way to stop that man. Oh, so you telling me Godzilla was on our side? Huh.
Yes! This is what we told you a long time ago. Why do you think we founded Monarch?
Yeah, and that's the one biggest. Like I said, there was a lot of stuff that was happening in this movie with no kind of logic or reasoning or anything like that. It didn't. There's a lot that didn't make sense, and and there was some stuff that was set upon and then it never came back to. Like the bomb, for instance, they shot that bomb. That thing never came back up. It never came back up. Like, man, we probably should have said something to them for not shooting that bomb at them or anything like that. Hell, they didn't even get a warning or anything like that. They just, dude popped up, was like, yo, shut a bomb.
Yeah, you should probably
military out.
It'll be there in like it'll be there in like 30 seconds.
Yeah, military out. And that was that. And it just was like, what? After we just wasted like 5 minutes on this one side character girl who leg got hurt, and we tried to get her up there to the freaking to the ship, the X-Jet, Because that's what that looked like, the X jet. That looks like the X-Men jet. But like I said, there is cool parts in the movie, yes, but the movie as a whole, it's not a great scene. Cause I was hyped after watching 2014 and Kong Skull Island. I was hyped to see this, mainly because of that your love and hype for this movie kind of washed over me. So I was expecting a lot. Did I get a lot?
No.
I got a meh when I was thinking this was gonna be God tier. This was like a versus what I was hyped up about. And I guess that's more on me being hyped about it, or versus knowing the lore or something like that. I don't know. It was disappointing. I would say that it was disappointing.
And I completely understand that, because I have had to really work at not overhyping things, and this movie, least of all, I don't want to overhype, because like I know it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and at the same time I really want people to be able to see what I see in it, but even that is impossible, because nobody really thinks the way I do, and nobody sees stuff the way I do. So it's just like I feel at fault sometimes about it for overhyping it, because I'm like, dude, I try to stay away from saying, this is the best movie ever made, because it's not the best movie ever made, but it's like my favorite movie ever, because the stuff that it did for me, all that kind of stuff. I think for me, another thing was like the lore that they set up for God, like stuff that I hadn't seen before. Mm-hmm. So there's like an ancient civilization that coexisted with him. They worshipped him. There's like cave drawings of him, of all the monsters. There's like a little Easter egg that you really don't see unless you pause it really hard before the bomb blows up in his like secret cave place. There's a skeleton down there of one of Godzilla's best friends from the old movie. And that made me sad, because that means he's not going to show up anymore. But then it's like, really, this movie, I love it because of the implications that it sets up, because I know the connections, I know how stuff is supposed to work. I feel like it probably won't work the exact same way, because they have to update it, and all that kind of stuff. But it's stuff like what these certain things could mean, because there's things in this series that weren't in the old series, like the Hollow Earth thing. That's new. That's completely new. I've never heard of that in my life, and it's such a cool thing because they could tie it into this one monster that's literally, and I kid you not, a giant bug with drills for hands. And it sounds stupid, but I hope he shows up one day because I love him to death.
Well, I want, if anything, we talking about characters we want. I want Jet Jaguar. Boy, I want him so bad.
That would be dope. And that was like another thing I was thinking about.
The hyena looking thing, that lion thing, King something.
Oh, King Caesar.
Yeah, Caesar. Yeah. He would be cool too. But
well, because like they set it up for, these creatures have been here for so long that they're practically legends, and every legend has an ounce of truth to it. So they could easily be like, there's this legend of this lion creature.
Yeah, they might do that. Yeah, they might do that. They ain't doing Jet Jaguar. That's way too ridiculous. They're not finna do that.
Jet Jaguar, I actually thought of the way they could do this, because you remember I showed you that article, and they were going to connect Pacific Rim and Godzilla together. Yeah. Jet Jaguar could easily be a Jaeger.
Yeah. He could be that. I forgot about that. He could easily do that, because that's what he is. He's basically an Ultraman. Yeah. He's an Ultraman allegory. That's what he is. But
yeah, he could have easily been a Jaeger, but they scrapped that. So I don't know if that's ever happened. There's, you never know. It's like the implications more than anything get me hyped up because, you know how Marvel theories work because you have years worth of comics to look at, and you could be like, this could happen because of this kind of thing happened. But then with Godzilla, there are comics, but the comics are way more blown out than the movies have ever been. They're crazy.
Hell, the Godzilla wars and all that junk. Yeah, I know that.
If they make a Godzilla Goes to Hell movie, I will go watch it. I promise. That movie will be disgusting. It'd have to be like directed by John Carpenter or something. Oh,
at the end of the day, though, like, if I'm ranking this, if I'd have to rank this out of the three, even me without even watching, not adding Godzilla vs Kong. This is Kong Skull Island, Godzilla 1 in 2014, and Godzilla King of the Monsters. If I'd have to rank this one, I'd rank this third, with Kong Skull Island as first for me, then Godzilla 2014, and then this one would be third. I would say out of the three, this is probably for me. This is for me, for just a casual Godzilla fan. Mm-hmm. This is the weakest out of the three of the MonsterVerse. Out of the three. Now, who knows how Godzilla, as hype as I am for Godzilla vs Kong, that might turn into this. I hope not, but we don't know. Like, cause I before I watched King of the Monsters, I watched the trailer and I was like, no man, I can't wait to watch it. Because the trailer got me hyped, and sometimes those trailers hit me wrong sometimes. But like, if I'd have to also rank this out of 10, without me giving the monsters voices, ridiculous voices, and everything, making up my own story, without that, taking all that out, I did have fun when the monsters and stuff was on the screen, and certain human parts were okay, but like overall, I'd have to give this like a 6. This would be a hard like rent it or wait until it come on TV or something to catch that type of movie. At least for me. This isn't a movie like this. When I saw Kong Skull Island and Godzilla 2014, I regretted not seeing those in theaters when I saw that. This one, I don't regret seeing this in theaters. I'm like, I could have watched this on my TV and been fine. Godzilla 2014 and Kong Skull Island, I was like, man, I really wish I saw these in theaters.
I would agree, because as much as I do love this movie and the MonsterVerse, I still think Kong is the best one out of all three. But I don't know where I would put King of the Monsters and 2014. I don't know which one I would put first, because I like the Godzilla parts in 2014, and I love the Godzilla parts in King of the Monsters. But I like the humans a little bit more in King of the Monsters than I do in 2014. So it's but it's funny. There's no question. The Kong movie was dope.
Yeah, the Kong movie was dope. Like that's one of my favorite ones. Like the Kong movie, I could probably rewatch multiple times. I could go back and rewatch because I enjoyed that one. It had everything. It had great human characters. The story was okay. We got a lot of monsters. I had some shock stuff like the bamboo spider thing that still creeped me out. But any insect that can hide in plain sight like that, duh. That's why you don't go to Australia. But tell me and Isaac, in the comments below if you like Godzilla King of the Monsters. You can rip me a new one if you're a Godzilla fan and be like, that nigga don't know what he talking about. I like this movie. It's the best thing since sliced bread. It is what it is. This is what the N.W.A is trying to do. We're trying to make a community and have the community, their voices be heard. So you down in the comments below, tell us what you thought about the movie, and if you're hyped for Godzilla versus King Kong. Well, Kong. He's not King Kong yet.
Yeah, soon to be King Kong, probably.
You tell us down below. Remember, show your attitude, you wonderful, beautiful nerd. Deuces.